Hi everyone. What we're about to do now is we're just going to go through some of the steps of getting kind of going on your labs. 'Cause the trickiest part we're going to probably run into is getting things moving in the first place. So the very first thing we're going to take a look at is getting the mouse going. Um, our virtual machine section set up. So I'm just going to remove this one so I can kind of start from scratch here. All right. So what we want to do is we want to import our virtual machine. So I provided one of those for you to download so that the settings are at least reasonably consistent. So I'm going to just look for that one. It's the Fedora install one. So that's all I need to do is just select that. I'm going to say next. I can change the name of this if I want. I want to leave it like it is for now. I want to just import it. And now it's here. When you go to start your lab off, the very first section uh, that you're going to work through is going to ask you a lot of stuff about OS type and filling out your hardware dependency list. This is where you look all that information up. Just note that you're using VMware VirtualBox as your hardware choice. Couple of quick things: if you run into some funny issues, you might find that depending on your system, you may need to have this particular box enabled on your system checkup, or you might need to turn these accelerations off. Most likely the only thing you'll have to do is this part here. Everything else is pretty much ready to go for you. Uh, the one other thing you'll have to do is we're going to need to actually access our, do that right? I do it here. Okay, we need to tell the system that we're using a CD. So to load our CD, we're going to do it from here. Uh, the CD that we're looking for is one I got you guys to download. It's the Fedora 16 32-bit CD, or DVD I should say. So just select that. Your icon might look a little different depending on the DVD software you have on your computer, but that's just to get the system to kind of be happy with what we have. At this point now, I'm going to just start my virtual machine up. Make sure you have the installer one selected because we're actually doing the install. Um, oh, okay. It's going to do the same thing as it did before. It's just telling you that the auto capture is not going to necessarily be turned on right away. So, and then it's going to give us another bit of a warning information about our display not necessarily being ideal, but we're good with that at the moment. So we'll bring this over here, we'll take a look at it, we'll say sure capture, and then we're going to hit enter to get things going. If you waited for a minute, it probably would get things going as well. It's telling us at the moment it doesn't support the mouse integration, so we're just going to say okay. It will start to support this once the system gets going, so you just need to kind of hit enter to kind of continue on. Alright, at this point it's going to ask us about whether we want to test our media or not. If you just downloaded this and burned it to a physical DVD, this is not a bad idea to do. It takes a while, but you don't want to get 90% of your way through doing this and then have your disk have a scratch in it or something weird like that. In this case, because we're dealing with the actual ISO itself, I'm just going to skip that and get the system running. Alright, so at this point we are ready to kind of start the process of our install. And since we're ready to start the process of our install, we just need to kind of follow normal install rules. But one thing we are doing is we're doing a lab. So because we're doing a lab, we want to be able to document what's going on. So the easiest way for you to do that is to open up a Word document or whatever your word processor happens to be and start to take some screen captures. Now, you'll notice one thing. I'm just going to hit the print screen button here. And when I didn't hit the pause button, no, print screen. So when I hit the print screen button, you see my virtual machine takes the screenshot and it saves this somewhere in the virtual machine. That's not what I'm looking for. So I need to hit the host key, which is labeled here as right control. So I'll hit right control, and you'll notice that that thing goes out. Then I'll want to come up here and make sure that I'm on my window. Then if I go Alt print screen, I can then come over to my Word document and I can just paste. And that is the kind of first step. What you want to do as you're moving along through your lab is at key points. As you're moving, you want to just take these screen grabs, drop them in your, drop them on over. You don't have to do it on every single spot, but it's always a good idea to show it in spots where you're having to make choices, etc. It does two things. One is it gives you guys a log of how you went through your install, and two, it gives you guys your lab to actually submit to me so I can ensure that you did all the stuff you're supposed to do. Okay, so if I wanted to grab this thing, I'd do the same thing again. I'd hit control so that that light here goes out. Then I'll hit Alt, print screen. I'll come over to my document. I'll do an enter after, and then I'll just paste again. And I want to end up with a fairly big file when this is all said and done, but it'll be a nice thorough file for what I'm doing. Other than that, we're just going to go through the basics of a quick and dirty basic install for our lab. So we're going to say pretty much take all our defaults. Yes. Whatever name it told you in your textbook, put that in. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, so I'm going to just leave it as the default. Don't bother configuring your network quite yet. You can do that after. You may as well pick St. John's as your, unless you happen to be in Labrador, you want to pick either St. John's or Goose Bay, because a couple of you guys are actually up in Labrador, I do believe. Again, we come down, we're going to say next, and now it's just going to ask us for the root password. The password I'd use would be password01. And it should have a capital P, and that's what we're going to use as our password for our setup here. It'll probably complain to us saying that that's an easy password, and it is an easy password, but we're not putting anything real on this. Now we have some options on how to set our system up. Again, we're going to pick the defaults. And now it's giving us our final warning. It's saying, if you do this, it's done. Again, make sure you're taking some screenshots and moving them, dropping them over in your word processor. At this point, if I click on write my changes, it's going to go through all the steps of doing the formatting, and now it's going to let us pick what exactly we want to do. I'm going to just stop here for right now, and I'm going to pick this up in our next little video clip, and because I don't want this to run too long. So I will talk to you again shortly.